Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary and I'm an illustrator and graphic designer living in Canada. Today I'm going to share this sketchbook with you. I just finished it recently. When this video goes up it'll be March 1st, I believe. So happy March, winter's going away, at least in the northern hemisphere. And I finished this sketchbook in February. So this is a Clairefontaine sketchbook. It's got this faux leather cover, which is actually just paper, and it's got a decent number of pages, so I use this as sort of my doodling book. Mostly dry media, not a lot of wet media in this one. It's not one of my watercolor books. And the stickers on the front here, we've got a few different ones. This one's for me, this one is by my partner Finn. This one's by my friend Natalie. This one here is from Catnip Illustration. Her channel is really good. This sticker came from Beam Paints, which is a wonderful indigenous handmade watercolor brand. And on the back, two more by me. You can buy these in my Etsy store. And a mammoth here. This is the logo of the Royal Alberta Museum. So we'll get into it here. The first thing really that, I don't know, the paper is very bright in this sketchbook. And, you know, that might be good for some people. For me, it was a bit jarring at first, especially the end papers. I don't know if you can tell, but the end papers are actually even brighter white than the paper. But yeah, going from a toned paper sketchbook to this is a big change. So I worked on this from August 19th to February 19th, so exactly 6 months. On the first page here is just some shark sketches, some studies there, and a few hyena sketches as well, and seals. So these are some of the sketches that I did in preparation for my Animal Artist Collective video on the Mediterranean monk seal. And this page here was just a very light sketch page of some people at the Drumheller Dino and Comic Con, where I tabled and sold some of my work. We've got a vulture, we've got an Ekalteke horse. If anyone knows how to actually pronounce that breed, let me know. I'm doing my best. I just think they're really beautiful and kind of alien the way they're styled without the mane, and they're so glossy. This is a prehistoric ancestor of an elephant. I believe this is Moiratherium. It's probably Moiratherium. And here's a sketch of Deet from the Dark Crystal series that went up on Netflix. I really enjoyed it. I thought it felt like playing Skyrim, except you were just watching a show. These are a couple of the sorts of doodles I do during meetings. A little more pattern-based, a little less sort of thinking about what I'm drawing, but I rather like these ones. Couple of sketches here. This is one of my friend's characters. I think that sketch turned out fairly nice. And some more gelflings from the Dark Crystal. This one here is an alien species that I designed based on the novella Rocannon's World by Ursula K. Le Guin. I did a whole project on that book in art school. And you can see more sketches in some of my previous sketchbook tours. This was a sketch I did without really thinking about it, and it basically turned into like a really dorky Oblivion elf. Like one of those really super dorky ones. And I actually don't mind this sketch. I think this one turned out quite nicely. These are a couple of swatches and a painting with the Beam Paints paints that I have. So that sticker on the front, and this is the paint set here. They're made with waxed canvas instead of using any sort of plastic or paper packaging, so they're really eco-friendly and really cute. These just sit on my desk like this at the ready. These are some really light sketches. Hopefully you can kind of see them, but just some like, I don't know, gesture studies of a weird little griffin type creature. I wanted to do a fuller illustration of this, but I think the time just wasn't right. Wasn't feeling it in the end, so that's just, you know, that's what a sketchbook is for. You test it out and you see if it's working or not. I think this gesture here was getting somewhere, so maybe I'll revisit that sometime in the future. Couple more sketches here. This one is with a brush pen, and actually I found that certain types of brush pens didn't work very well on this paper, although they ended up working better at the back, so I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just this page in particular that had sort of a weird resist quality. Yeah, I remember thinking like, oh, this sketchbook is awful for brush pens, but then at the end it was fine, like the pages near the end. I don't know. But this paper was, since it's so smooth, it's really smooth, it was awesome for colored pencils. So this one was a fun little drawing, a sort of pirate character. Another horse from reference and a heron from reference. And a little sketch here. And these are more just like meeting doodles, so flowers and stuff. I like to spy on my coworkers and see like what they're doodling too, because we have this certain monthly meeting where a lot of people doodle because it's a long meeting. It's necessary. We're all checking in about what we're working on. And sometimes we get donuts, but we don't always get donuts. So when there's no donuts, I look around the table and a lot of people are doodling. And I see a lot of people drawing flowers, so I drew some flowers. A couple of loose caribou sketches here, just from memory. And these are some sketches with paint markers. It says keep it loose here. I try to remember that for my sketchbooks at least, just like keep it loose. You know, get the shape in there. Don't fuss too much. This one I tried out a crow quill and with some vermilion ink, and it was really bad on this paper. It was super scratchy. It was like trying to draw with a knife. Like the crow quill was just too sharp for this paper. And clearly this was a little period where I wasn't like thrilled with what I was drawing and how I was drawing. But you know, you keep carrying on and drawing anyway. This was just a rough sketch that I did for working out the dimensions of my Inktober zine, which I was really proud of. This page here I think was really cool. So at the museum we had several people apply for a postdoctoral position, and they all came and did talks about what they would want to research at our museum. So for each talk, I did like a sketch spread while they were speaking. So it's a fun way of taking notes, learning a little, but also staying awake in a dark auditorium. So this one was about Paleozoic predator-prey systems, so lots of Eurypterids and trilobites, little guy called Sineia. And yeah, I have a lot of quotes from this particular speaker because he would say things in a very colloquial manner. That was kind of funny, like, let's see, chomp on this shelly thing, or like frontal nippy bits for the grabbers of the Eurypterids. Anyway, it was a charming talk, I think. The next talk was about fossil leaves. So here are some fossil leaves. The one following that was about ichthyosaur fossils, so a type of marine reptile, Mesozoic marine reptile. So draw some ichthyosaurs. This is an ichthyosaur flipper or paddle, the front fin. Yeah, I like this one. I like this. This little drawing's quite cute. And the next page here was about mosasaur teeth, so another type of Mesozoic marine reptile, sort of related to squamates, lizards and snakes, and sort of reminiscent of modern day varanid monitors. But not quite. They're very different, and they're very, very cool. This is the scientist that we ended up hiring, so I'm looking forward to seeing her around the museum and potentially working with her in the design department because I love mosasaurs. They're super cool. I learned about a dwarf mosasaur actually called carinodens during her talk, and they have these funny little stumpy little teeth. And you could just really tell that she really cares about her research, but also has a good attitude about it. She just kept saying how cute they were to her. You know, they're an animal that's been dead for millions and millions of years, but she's like, they're so cute. This is a drawing of just the sort of generic Albertosaurus with the orbital horns kind of exaggerated. They're not really that pointy, but I think they should be that pointy. And this here is just a postcard from the Royal Alberta Museum, so the same one who did this sticker, but I just really like the typography on this, and I actually missed this exhibit. They had a Viking warship and a lot of Viking artifacts, and I didn't get to go. It was just too long of a drive. I didn't plan it right, so I have the postcard, but I didn't go, which I'm kind of sad about. I wish I had went. These sketches here were done during my trip in November to New England. So I'm from Canada, so I flew to Boston and stayed in New Hampshire and sort of dipped into Maine a little bit. They're all very close together over there, which is strange to me because the provinces in Canada are quite large, at least out in the west where I am, so you can drive a lot and still be in Alberta, but they're like you drove 10 minutes and you were in Maine. Anyway, so these are just my feet. I drew these waiting at the terminal for my first flight from Calgary to Montreal, and then I flew from Montreal to Boston in a much smaller airplane where I didn't draw at all. And then this was a sketch of Kennebunk Beach in Maine. Some beautiful rocks and some houses with beautiful views. And then, of course, the ocean. It was actually raining, so I drew this from my friend's car. Here are some chicken sketches from that trip as well. My friend has a horse, so I went with her to the barn a few times and sort of stalked the chickens around. There are some better chicken drawings coming up, but this was a steer skull that was mounted on the wall. I tried drawing some of the horses, but so horses are really tall and I'm really short, and I couldn't get a good view of them in their stalls without standing on my tiptoes. So I had to draw while standing on my tiptoes while holding my sketchbook, and it was just not really an ideal situation. Plus they kept moving. Some of them eventually I got some decent sketches of, like this guy with his big old coat. But the chicken was a little more amenable. I ended up picking up the chicken eventually. I coaxed it into my arms for a hug. One of the ladies at the barn was saying that the chicken is yelling because we introduced her to popcorn and now we won't give her more popcorn, and all she wants is popcorn. So she was walking around going, basically complaining that she didn't have popcorn. And I thought that was great. There was this wheelbarrow where the hay bales went, and she climbed up there and sat on it, so I got a nice drawing out of that. And this drawing here turned out really good. I think I really captured the floof of her behind. And this is a pretty good portrait here. So with drawing animals, I feel, especially from life, you do a lot of drawings that just suck. Because your target's moving, obviously. And you have to know the anatomy of the animal before you can really draw it from real life, because that gives you the shortcut knowledge to be able to draw while they're still moving, because you kind of know how they're supposed to look. But even then, like, it took me, you know, a handful of shoddy chicken drawings to get to some chicken drawings that were good. And part of that is also that the chicken was slowly getting used to me being around and staring at it, and started caring less that I was staring at it. Anyway, so that was the visit to the barn. Over here are a couple of quick sketches for a job I did for a magazine. So I took these into Photoshop next and did the color roughs, and then sent those to my art director. I drew this sketch while watching some historical show. I think like just The King, or The Last King, or Outlaw King. Maybe it was Outlaw King. Anyway, the one with Chris Pine and a beard. So that's not supposed to be him, but it's like everybody had that haircut. I kind of have that haircut. Here are a couple portraits here, character portraits. This is my friend's cat named Meow, and he made a beautiful little donut on the couch, so I drew him because he couldn't see that I was drawing him and therefore couldn't leave. I quite like this drawing. I like that it's very soft and purple, but it still has, like, it captures like his stripes and stuff. I drew this one at a cute little cafe where I had basically the best macaroni and cheese I've ever had in my life. Oh, it was really good. I drew this, and then the mac and cheese came, and it got all of my attention. And we also stopped at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, which was awesome because there aren't really any art museums in my province here, so getting to spend a whole day at an art museum was like a total treat for me. I even saw some pieces that, you know, I learned about in art school, like, you know, Art History 101 and stuff like that, so that was super fun. And these are some of the sketches that I did at the museum. They had an exhibit of art from ancient Nubia, so Sudan, in Africa, and yeah, some of the artifacts were super cool. And I just drew it with just a black pen. I didn't want to get too involved, of course, because you're walking around like holding your sketchbook like this and like trying to draw. So there's only so much you can do without being that person who brings a little stool to the art museum, and generally you have to, you know, discuss it ahead of time and get permission and whatever. And this drawing here was just done with the ballpoint pen in December. Yeah, I visited my parents and I drew this while my dad drew something else, so that was really fun. We just hung out and drew like we used to do when I was a kiddo. These are some sketches for another freelance gig that I worked on. So again, these I will then take to Photoshop and put colors on and refine the composition before sending them to my client. Very quick doodles. Very, very quick doodles. Here are some drawings that were based off of reference that I found on Pinterest. So just some nice interesting portraits, kind of with a few like vintage photograph vibes. Very noodly dinosaur here. And part of that job that I worked on, they wanted to see how my own handwriting would look as the text for the project. So there's some tests for that. We ended up not going with that, which was fine by me. And here is the first sort of comic page of my little dinosaur characters. Their names are Herb and Tucker, and this actually like literally came to me in a dream. Like I had a dream that I opened a book and this comic was inside it. So I think that was a sign, and I basically made sure to draw it because my subconscious was telling me to draw it. So there's the first page, and this is the second page. I wasn't happy with the faces in this drawing, so I just redrew them down here and then combined them in Photoshop after. There's a drawing of Herb with a blue pencil crayon, but he's actually green. I decided he was green after this. And here's some more sketches of Tucker, the sort of the Tyrannosaur character. He starts off really small, and then he's gonna grow bigger as the comic series goes on. And I think my plan right now, anyway, is to do a few more comics of it and make a zine, and maybe they can exist in zine form for a while. And this sticker here, it's like a crow with a big red eye or something. For whatever reason, this sticker was on like a mandarin orange. Like someone brought these oranges to work that had like cute cartoony stickers on them. And I was like, I'm keeping this sticker. I'm keeping it. Here I was just trying to figure out how I want to draw Tucker's feet, because I want to simplify them, but also, like, working in a paleontology museum, I know way too much about theropod feet. So, like, you know, I want to simplify them, but I also want to stay true to the actual anatomy of the animals in some way. So they're exaggerated and, like, not super accurate, but they're kind of accurate, I guess. Here are some wallabies and cassowaries, which I drew for the Animal Artist Collective video, the last video actually, that talked about Australian fauna. So the wallaby painting that I did after these is actually still available on my Etsy store. So if you're interested in owning an original piece by me, go check it out over there. And I rather like this sketch too. Like, it's sort of a weird sketch. It's very loose, but I wanted to get like a weird, I don't know, a weird expression. You know, like not just somebody looking kind of plain and relaxed. Here are some dinosaurs. And another dinosaur here. And just some hand-drawn type. That's sort of generous, I guess. This is me complaining, but doing it in like a pretty way. So I was kind of annoyed about a particular project I was on. So I just sort of vented in my sketchbook a bit. It looks nice, doesn't it? And here I was working on the next page for the Herb and Tucker comics, going through some ideation phases, trying to figure out like where I want the panels to be, what I want to have in the panels, and a few false starts basically. But eventually what I ended up doing, see, okay, that's better, but it needs some TLC. I did the sketch. Well, not for this one, I guess. I just drew this. All right, so I drew this one, and I wasn't happy with the placement of the text, so I finessed that in Photoshop. But then this next page here, I did the sketch for the comic on this page, and then I flipped it over and traced it because you can still kind of see through the paper. And I think this method worked out really well, and I think this page is just super cute. They're just going on a little walk in the woods, like sort of Winnie the Pooh type, Moomin type 100-acre wood situation. Yeah, this one, I love that one. And then this page here is another sort of set of doodles done during a talk. One of our one of our researchers, Dr. Henderson, did a talk about dinosaurs in the movies and basically what he doesn't like about them. So it was like an hour, you know, maybe more like 45 minutes. A 45-minute talk of him like saying what he would do better basically, and backing it up with like math. So yeah, these are just some doodles I did during his talk. And brush pen stuff again. So remember how I said like I didn't like the brush pen before? I actually didn't really mind it by the time I got to this point. So here's just a model from Pinterest. She's smiling. I thought it was cute. And on this page here, I did some wing diagrams, which are going to be part of the final installation of my How to Draw and Paint Birds videos on the wings and sort of how the wings work and stuff like that. So this will be part of that, but I want to make it pretty comprehensive, so it's going to take me a while. And I know I've been saying that for like ages, but I started working. See, I started working right here. And yeah, I'll continue to work on that in the background when I have time. Here's another little brush pen sketch with some highlighter. Spruce it up. And some little herb sketches. Yeah, I'd really like to get back to working on these comic pages, these little dino comics, and get that zine out. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the characters will make more sense once I get enough like pages to do a zine. So stay tuned, I guess. But yeah, I've just been like practicing drawing them very simply and just with marker so that I can get the hang of the shapes that I want them to look like, and like how I want them to open their mouths and stuff like that. This sketch turned out pretty nice. Just a sketch of an actor that I like in a magenta pencil crayon. And these are some stickers that I got made for my Etsy shop, just as like little thank you stickers or bonus stickers or package decoration or whatever. So they have little watercolor flowers on them that I did. And here's a character sketch. A few more loose doodles over here. Very loose. There's this point where I get like close to the end of a sketchbook where I start just being like, oh, I gotta fill pages, I gotta get onto something new. So for whatever reason, this page I drew bugs. They're pretty cute, actually. They're cute. Here's a drawing of my boy Cicero. Is he still awake? Yeah, he's still awake over there in his tank. And I was just reflecting one day on the adaptations that he has for his environment, basically. He's a digging, desert-dwelling lizard. So when you look at him, you can actually see like his nostril is tipped backward. His ear has sort of a spiny flap that sticks up over it. And his mouth as well has sort of this spiky curve that basically all of these features direct sand away from his, orifices while he's digging. So his head is adapted to digging without getting a snoot full of dirt, basically. These sketches here, I'm quite fond of these, actually. I found a pack of Conte while I was cleaning my desk one day. And it's a whole rainbow of Conte. And so I used the brownish color just to do some really loose, super duper loose portraits. And then I did a bit of watercolor over the top. And I think the effect is it's nice, it's fun. And again, more of the Conte, this time in blue. with some watercolor over top. And some brush pen sketches. These here again are with the Arteza Real Brush Pens, and there is a link in the description to my Arteza affiliate link. If you're interested in purchasing from them, go through the links. I get a little commission at no extra cost to you because I am an affiliate with them, and that's, you know, they're the first company I've affiliated with on this channel. So yeah, if you're interested, check them out. These here are something that I did for work, but I had this printout and it felt like a shame to recycle it, so I just stuck it in here for now. These again are with the Arteza Real Brush Pens. I really like this color. I like how it, when you get the water onto it, it opens up into this really nice pink. Yeah, that's a great effect. And then these ones here, sort of Dragon Age inspired doodles, and this one is my coworker's guinea pig. She opened up her desktop to like open Microsoft Word or something, but she did it on a big screen in the boardroom, and her desktop background is her guinea pig like curled up like this with only one foot showing. I just thought it was so cute. This sketch here I did at the Airbnb that I stayed at just recently, and this little cute tree stamp was from a store in the small town where we stayed. It was on the paper bag that they gave out. I bought some handmade soap, and I really love craft paper, like just the look of it. I wish more stores would return to brown paper bagging. I feel like that would be much better for the environment than plastic bags. Here's Herb thinking about how I haven't drawn him a comic page in a while, so I should probably get on that because he's guilt tripping me a little bit right there. On the last few pages, I took out my brush pen. I was dreadfully bored and I needed a pick-me-up, so I wrote some days of the week in a few languages. So there's English and then French and then Welsh. I know a little bit of French, not a ton of French, but I took French as a child for many years. And then Welsh I've been learning through Duolingo recently. And it's interesting to see where like the etymology of the days of the week diverges. So the English is usually leans one way. So Wednesday is Woden's, so like Odin's day. So of course that's a Norse deity, whereas Mercredi and Dies Mercure, these are from Mercury, so a Roman god. And yeah, these actually show up on the camera really nicely. They look super cool. I don't get a lot of opportunity to use like these sort of brushy type treatments, but sometimes I get a chance at work. I'll make some reasons for me to do that and whatever. So it's fun to brush up and keep the skill going. This page just says Dwi wedi blino, which means in Welsh, I'm tired. So that's how I was feeling. Dwi wedi blino. This one here is Thursday. So Thursday in French is jeudi. In Welsh is dydd. So Thursday, Thorsday, jeudi. Jupiter's Day, Jupiter spelled with an I. Jupiter's Day, yai. Huh? Huh? You get it? Okay. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is the weekend and the end of the sketchbook. Back here are just some tickets for my trip, and also a ticket from a long time ago that I found hiding in the bottom of a purse from when I saw Norm Macdonald, the comedian, live, and laughed more than I've ever laughed, ever, and probably will never laugh that much again. I hope you enjoyed this sketchbook tour. It was a long one. I know how you guys like a long, rambly video. The next one probably won't be as long because the sketchbook I moved into just doesn't have as many pages. But there you go. If you like sketchbook tours, if you like what I'm about, if you like hearing me talk about working at a museum now and then, hit the subscribe button. You can hit the bell icon if you want. I personally hate notifications, so certainly not blaming you if you don't want to hit that bell icon. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you had a favorite page in the sketchbook, if you've ever used this type of sketchbook, if you've got any of my stickers and where you keep them. You know, just throw comments at me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!